Hello everyone, this is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review. And today we're reviewing a card by Sweda. This guy is very large, and he's got like a tree in his hand, and he's eating something. It's hard to tell what he's eating there, but he's kind of a scary guy. He's probably eating one of these sheep. I think that's what's happening. Poor sheep. Why are these sheep not running away? Get away, sheep! Run, sheep! All right, let's see what's going on with this guy. Brugmodes, Brugmodes, Brugmodes. I mean, in English, this would just be Brugmodes, I think. Which is kind of a weird name, but okay. Brugmodes, Unyielding Gorger. All right, he likes to eat. 1 black, green for a 2/2. All right, so stat line initially is below par, which means he better have something going on in this text box, and there's definitely a lot of words here. So, all right, this is a legendary creature demon. At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy all food tokens. Period. For each 2 food destroyed this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Brugmodes and choose 1. Brugmodes gains menace until end of turn. Brugmodes gains vigilance until end of turn. Put a shield counter on Brugmodes. At the beginning of your end step, each player creates 2 tapped food tokens. Okay, so a lot of words, a lot of things. All right, let's just get a couple of things out of the way. We are once again using the incorrect border here. This should be a gold black-green border. This is currently a hybrid black-green border. So, gotta fix that. The name is getting kind of close here. That's kind of a little bit distracting because you've got like less space here than you do here, you know? So you might want to just slightly change this guy, maybe make his name, just call him like Bruh. Wow, that says Baw. Anyway, you can probably make his name a little shorter or find, go to thesaurus and find a word for unyielding that's a little bit shorter. But anyway, okay, also, let's see. At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy all food tokens, period. That needs to be a period. And then capital F, for each 2 food destroyed this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Brugmodes, choose 1. At the beginning of your end step, each player creates 2 tap. Okay, that's really the only issue there. You gotta have a period there. Okay, so we got that out of the way. So let's dive into the design. So, at the beginning of your end step, each player creates 2 tapped food tokens. Okay, so you play this guy. He's a 3-mana 2/2, which he doesn't look a lot like a 3-mana 2/2, does he? He looks like he's huge. He's huge. So you create each player. So let's just say this is 1v1. Okay, I know that there's a lot of commander players out there, but let's just say this is 1v1 for the moment. So there's 4 food tokens in play, 2 for you, 2 for your opponent. Okay, now it goes to your opponent's turn. They can sacrifice food if they want to. And then it gets to your turn, and let's just say they haven't sacrificed any food. At the beginning of your upkeep, you destroy all food tokens, and then for each 2 food destroyed this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Brugmodes and choose 1. I mean, you're always going to choose the shield counter first. So now he becomes a 3/3 with a shield counter. And you make 2 more tokens. This is for each 2 food. So you actually get this twice if they don't sacrifice any food tokens, right? Because there's 4 in play. So you basically get 2 +1/+1 counters, a shield counter, and like a menace and vigilance. Or excuse me, like a menace counter. This guy gets out of hand really fast because if basically once he has these two keyword abilities, you can just stack shield counters on this guy and he becomes unkillable. I mean, not literally unkillable, because there are ways to, kill this guy outside of just, certain effects that the shield counter would prevent, exile effects, bounce effects, things like that. But against certain decks, you're just going to stack shield counters on this guy and he's going to become unkillable, which is really annoying. Okay, here, this. All right, let's just think of a scenario here for a moment. Okay, so you play this guy on the play on turn 3. Okay, 4 food tokens in play. Goes to your opponent's turn. Let's say they sacrifice. They can only sacrifice 1 food. Okay, and then they only have 1 mana left over. So they sacrifice 1 food. Goes to your turn, destroy all tokens, and now you get a +1/+1 counter and a shield counter on this guy. So now he's a 3/3, and he's got a shield counter, which means he won't die in combat, and he can't be killed by destroy effects. Okay? Now, again, so now you hit him for 3, and 4 tokens are in play again. Goes to their turn. Let's say they sacrifice 2 food tokens, right? There's still 2 food tokens in play, so you still get this trigger. Now you get a 4/4, and you can give him Menace. Or just give him another shield counter. Or give him Vigilance. Yeah, this card seems like it has a similar issue to the last one we looked at, the Grinding Riddle, in the sense that, like, it's just too good, I think. Like, it looks like there's counterplay involved here, but there really isn't. Like, basically they have to kill this thing on their next turn, or else they're just, like, you're just going to run them over, essentially. The fact that you get a +1/+1 counter and a shield counter the next turn, no matter what, right? They can't, like, because you get the tokens too, they have no way of stopping you from triggering this, unless they, like, kill your food tokens. But if they kill your food tokens, they can't sacrifice their own food tokens, right? So, like, this guy's guaranteed to be a 3/3 with a shield counter, essentially, unless they kill him on their turn, in which case you've given them 2 food tokens, but, like, okay, whatever. Food tokens are not very good, right? I mean, they're fine, but, like, they're not clue tokens, that's for sure, right? I mean, clue tokens are way better than food tokens. So yeah, this guy is a trap, essentially. Like, it's just an insanely good card, and they just better have a way to deal with it, because sacrificing food is not a way to deal with this card. Which, again, I think is not your intention, because you specifically said that the purpose of these cards is to pressure the opponent to spend mana on the tokens rather than on developing their board, right? But, like, because you get the tokens here, so let's just try simplifying this card for a minute and just see, like, what happens. So let's say that you don't get the tokens, only each opponent creates food tokens, okay? And let's say that this mode triggers for every food token destroyed, not for every 2 food tokens destroyed. Okay. So let's just think about that for a minute. Okay. So you play him on the play turn 3, and he's a 2/2. They get a food token on their upkeep. Now they have an interesting choice, right? Because now it's like, okay, do you have a way to kill this thing? Then we'll just kill it. You've given them a food, not a big deal, right? A food token, again, is like the worst of the 3 types of tokens. Of, I guess, 4 types if you're including treasure tokens. So, but if they don't have a way to kill it, now it's like, okay, do I spend 2 mana to sacrifice this food token? Or do I actually, like, use my mana to do something that actually matters? Because spending 2 mana to gain 3 is not a good turn, right? They're only going to have 1 mana left over. That's probably going to be their whole turn if they sacrifice it, right? So if they do sacrifice that, then it's like, okay, well, they've gained 3 life, and you don't get a counter, so now you've got your 2/2 in play here, but they also haven't done anything, right? And so now next turn, you play like a 4-drop, let's say. They get another food token. It goes to their turn. They have 4 mana up, and now they have 2 creatures they have to deal with, including this guy. So now they can sacrifice their food token to keep this guy small, and maybe do one other thing if they have something that costs 2 mana. But they're like now they're like being punished for sacrificing the food, even though your creature's not getting bigger. They're also not spending their mana on things that actually matter. They're spending their mana on gaining life, you know? And that's going to continue, essentially, as you add more to the board. So I honestly think a simpler version of this card will just be better. Because, like, that actually creates interesting decisions for your opponent, whereas this version doesn't. This version just says, well, this thing is just unbeatable if you don't have a way to remove it, like, right away. Right? Especially because you get the food tokens. And in Commander, I mean, even then, like, giving a food token to each opponent is still good, because now it's like, okay, you're playing 4v4, or 4v4, playing 4-man FFA, and if any one of those players does not sacrifice a food, now this guy starts getting online. Now he gets +1/+1 and a shield counter. Right? And he becomes hard to deal with. So, yeah, I think I honestly I'm not sure why you went this route, because I honestly think that route is just give the version of this that only makes 1 food token for each opponent at the beginning of your end step, and requires, you know, and has this trigger for every 1 food token destroyed. Not only is that cleaner and simpler, I think it's just a more interesting. It's just more interesting gameplay, right? Like now you've actually made it a choice. You've given a choice to the other player. Does he want to sacrifice the food? Does he want to spend his mana to develop his board? Both of them have drawbacks, right? So yeah, I think that version of this card is just much, much better, if you ask me. The way it is right now, this guy just there's just too much spaghetti lying around, you know? He can't, there's no way he's not going to be able to find something to eat, you know? There's just spaghetti everywhere, and he's just going to keep growing and growing. So, excuse me. So, yeah, I'm also not huge on the ability to just like stack up shield counters on this guy. I find that to be a little obnoxious. Like having to spend 2 removal spells on this guy once he gets a shield counter is already very good. Like you don't need to make him like indestructible, you know. So what you may want to do is maybe like you put a +1/+1 counter and like another one of these counters of your choice that he doesn't already have, something like that might be nice. Because then otherwise you're just gonna have a million shield counters on this guy, and he's just gonna be like impossible to deal with, you know, unless they have Exile or Bounce, etc., etc. But it you know, depends on what kind of deck they're playing. If they're playing like a red aggressive deck, then this card just like poops on them. Like there's just gonna be no way they can deal with it. Outside of killing it, you know, on the turn that they have before he starts doing things. So, excuse me, drinking my tea. So yeah, again, I think this one has a similar issue. You know, it's kind of cute. The you know, the fact that like if this guy finds food, you know, he grows bigger. So like the flavor, I think the flavor's there. Honestly, I do find this little modal part to be a little unnecessary. It is kind of cool that like once he gets the counter, he gets like a shield counter, and like that, you know, and that makes him like hard to deal with then. So it's like that's kind of like the thing. Really, this is the thing that really pressures you to sacrifice the food, not so much the +1/+1 counter. You know, because if it was just that he gets a +1/+1 counter for every food, then it's like, okay, well, whatever. You know, I'll kill this at some point. But the shield counter is really the danger there. So I like the shield counter part. I just don't like the fact that you can like keep stacking it up over and over again. So I almost wonder if like this card would just be better if for every food. So okay, let me just try and create a version of this card that I might make. Again, I'm not telling you how to design your card, but I'm just saying here's a direction that I would go if I were working on this card. At the beginning of your upkeep, and again, I almost wonder how well this would work out if you worded it in the opposite direction. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent creates a tapped food token. At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy all food tokens. Destroy all food tokens. For each food destroyed this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Brugh. I'm just gonna call him Brugh. Then, if he for each, just put a +1/+1 counter on Brugh, and put a shield counter on it if it doesn't have. That's a little awkward. Put a +1/+1 counter on Brugh. Then, if Brugh has no shield tokens, put a shield token? Shield counter. I don't know why I said token. Shield counters. Put a shield counter on it. The question is, does this work? Destroy. Does this work the way I want it to? Destroy all food tokens. For each food destroyed this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Brugh. Then, if Brugh has no shield counters on, so yeah, I think this happened. Okay, this doesn't happen the way I want it to, right? This would only happen if any food was destroyed. Then, if Brugh has no shield counters, and anyway, you get what I'm trying to do. There's a way you can word this, but yeah, I feel like something like this. Wow, Jesus, this is really gonna bother me. Okay, how about this? If any food tokens were destroyed this way, capital F. I guess if any foods were destroyed this way, put a shield counter on Brugh. If there are no shield counters on it, then put a +1/+1 counter for each food destroyed this way. Maybe something like that. That's a little awkward, but anyway, this is sort of a simpler version of the card, and I think it just works better. You know, this whole modal thing just seems a little kind of unnecessary, and like I said, I do like the fact that it gets a shield counter, but I don't like the fact that you can just like stack them on over and over and over again. I think one shield counter is enough, you know, and you know, in the version I made, he gets a shield counter every upkeep as long as a food is destroyed. That's already pretty good. So, excuse me, I'm drinking. So yeah, this is again like I think there's definitely something interesting about this card. I think what you're trying to do here is cool. I just don't think you've quite accomplished it yet with this current version. I think it's just right now it's just too much. So there's not really any interesting choices. It's just he's just a guy that's always going to grow every turn. So it's like you might as well not have the food thing going on here. So yeah, that's my suggestion for this card. Rating wise, I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. It's a little bit less clean than the grinding riddle. It has a similarly nice sort of flavor to it, and the idea is cool, but it's just not quite executed because of the power level of the card. So yeah, I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.